And welcome back, folks, to part two of our show, Gregory Hall Live, with my very special guest, the entrepreneur himself, fashion investor, businessman extraordinaire, and proud Jersey City native, Mr. Joseph Whaley.
All right, great. Thank you for having me again.
No problem. I forgot to put the sound effect. That's what the hand clap was supposed to go. Oh shit, I forgot something. Yes, this is part two because if you tuned in, folks, yesterday, or if you've seen this yesterday's episode, we had a little bit of technical difficulties going on, so we decided to split the shows into two parts. So just in case anybody hasn't seen part one, you can give a brief introduction to yourself so people get familiar with who you are and what you do.
Sure, no problem. I'm the CEO of the White Ink International Business Development, which is the company that owns Liquid Fashions Unlimited, which is a service that provides unlimited fashions for any and everybody. It's just you pay one price a month and you can get whatever fashion you like. Jackets, footwear, accessories, watches, anything you can think of that you wear on your body, you can get. From baby stuff to maternity wear, the possibilities are endless.
Now, picking off where we left off at yesterday. So now, one thing that you and I have in common is that we're both Jersey City natives.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's great. Not enough of us coming out of Jersey City doing that.
Oh, of course.
And so, look, let's get into a little bit of your upbringing. So you were born and raised in Jersey City.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Jersey City. I'm the third generation, so my father was the second. My grandfather was Joseph Whaley the first. We didn't really have much. We was a family that wouldn't say poverty, but at the same time, we didn't have much of anything. We pretty much fed off of little stuff like turkey burgers and hot dogs, the cheap stuff. Yeah, and I grew up right off of Rutgers Avenue, like next to PS20, that high school over there. It was just a lot of, at the time, guns, violence, rapes, killings going on. I think around that same time, a woman got killed, and she was right down the street from my school, and she was pregnant. There was like a lot of stuff going on at that time growing up. So I take a lot of what I've been through and a lot of what I've gone through, and I put it within my next big project every 3 years. So how it falls into this project is that the logo is not really a logo. It's more of a canvas painting. So when you look at it, it's not like your standard, okay, here's my words, here's Liquid, here's the wording for Liquid. No, it's when you look at the actual image itself, there is no point on that image that you see the name Liquid on it. It's completely a painting. And how that came apart was because I wanted something different. I wanted something that will represent myself, and also when you look inside the portrait of that person that you see in the picture, you will start seeing your own lifestyle, and you'll see what you've been through in your own way. So it's it's one picture, but it's broken into 5 different sections. So which coincides with the 5 different services into one, which coincides into the 5th chapter in my own personal life. So it's a lot to do with it. And that's why I wanted to make it so it's not a logo, because I don't want the feel of a logo, because that's not what it is supposed to be. It's supposed to be something different. It's supposed to be something that's going to change the way you think of fashion. It changes the way you think of yourself, because if you keep on thinking about fashion as, okay, well, who's the next top designer, or who's going to be the next top this or top that, then you're going to consistently be thinking about the common person, because anybody and everybody can be a fashion designer, but not many people can actually set a trend that's going to go on for time and time and time again. So that's what I like to incorporate when I think about my own life. And it's like 6 different colors into one logo, 5 different sections.
See, it's interesting that you even mentioned that, because as I'm hearing you speak, and I know you said you're an investor, you're a businessman, but I see you also as an artist too.
Oh yeah. I like to. I love art. That's one thing I can actually say. Again, I love art, and I love to look and understand the painting that I'm looking at. So the average person will look at the picture and be like, okay, wow, that's a nice picture, and walk away. But there's a story, there's an actual pain. Whether it's a pain, a happiness, you can, just by looking at the art, you can tell that person or that image emotion. So that's what I wanted to incorporate, something different, something that probably has not been done before with a logo in its own. So I really appreciate the art, and fashion is art in its own. So when you actually putting a real art in art, then you start to think about, wow, like, okay, now I understand. This is an actual story within a service. Not just a service, it's a story now.
Well, absolutely, because I think fashion, I mean, for me, fashion is an extension of you. It's an
Hmm.
extension of who you are, and you know, growing up in Jersey City, you definitely, I definitely can relate. I know what Jersey City was and the
Yeah.
violence. I mean, violence is still going on there, unfortunately. More so in the neighborhood I'm from. I was raised, if any, the Hill, Jersey City.
Mhm. Of
You
course.
know the Hill. Anybody from Jersey City know what the Hill is? That's the Greenville section of Jersey City. So I definitely know with all that what's going on. Unfortunately, a lot of it is still going on there. But I don't know if you've been there recently, but just the regentrification that's gone on downtown Jersey City is insane.
I haven't been. Last time I was there was because I still do have family that live in there. So last
Yeah.
time I was there, I think it was for to visit my godmother, which I didn't see in about 10 years. So I went to visit her in Jersey City, but I haven't gone there since 2011, maybe. So it's been a while since I've been in Jersey City.
Yeah, I haven't lived in Jersey City in about, oh man, maybe 7 years this year. I've lived in Jersey City, but I'm usually there because I usually park my car in Jersey City to go to New York if I have a show or something. But
Hmm.
downtown's completely regentrified. I mean, it's freaking hipsterville down there. I
Really?
mean, oh God, yeah, people jogging and shit, and the dogs and cops are all over the place. And I shit you not, I was actually coming home from a gig, and it was about maybe 2:30 in the morning, maybe 3. It was real late, and I'm actually cutting through Newport Mall, and I shit you not, there were like 2 cop cars just sitting there,
Just sitting
just
there.
chilling, just
Wow,
to let
new.
you know that they were in the vicinity, that this is not the section of this town to fuck with.
Of course, yeah. And Newport Mall. Wow, I haven't been there in like 10 years. Have not been there in
Yeah,
a while.
it's a shell of itself to what it was before.
Wow, like
I, Newport is so bad. Not bad, but it's such a shell of itself that every time I cut through there to go to the path, I kind of like hide and hope I don't run into somebody I know. Then I got forced to talk to them. Like, you just have to see people. He's like, oh, don't talk to
See,
me.
that's the benefit of me. It's been so long because I've been down there that not many people recognize what I look like, and most of the time I live in Jersey, so my where I live at is too far out. It's more of a suburban area of Jersey. So when I'm going to New York, I just park my car right where it is. I just leave it in the complex I'm in, and
Mm-hmm.
just take a driver down to New York. I don't really mess with the transportation because me, I get confused. I was never taught too much of the transportation because when I lived in the city, I used to walk all the time. So
Oh,
I was never taught about the bus, the train, and stuff like that. So I never used the Metro card until I was about 18.
oh man, you was late in the game, brother.
Oh yeah. I
You was
was
late.
really late. I was really late.
You was late in the game, brother.
And I didn't. I don't think I caught a train until I was almost 19 because it's been a minute. So I think now I don't even catch the public transportation now because it's just like, well, there's no point in me learning it now. I might as well just use my normal driver to bring me back and forth to New York. So I don't even. I will deal with it when I come to that point.
Oh my God, he said driver, driver. What am I
Driver.
doing wrong? You gotta let me know. You gotta let me know what am I doing wrong that I don't have a driver.
Hey, he gets paid good, so he's happy to be driving for me.
Yeah, I got a driver myself. Shit.
I mean, because nobody can drive, and New York is such a congested
Yeah.
place. I think last time because I went to New York for an event that Jordan assisted me with, and it took me a trip that was only 30 minutes took me over an hour to do, and I
Hmm.
was with the driver, and I was like, you know what, lucky I did not drive down here because it would have took me forever because I can't drive in the city, so to speak. When I got my license, I was driving in Pennsylvania in the back roads. I'm that country boy driving there. I don't
Yeah.
really know too much about the city drive. That's a whole different experience.
Well, I have the benefit of having the best of both worlds because I'm usually in the city 2 or 3 times a week doing stand up. So I'm driving into Jersey City, but I live in the sticks. So I can benefit like I can parallel park and I can also drive in the sticks.
Oh, that's good. Then you got. I wish I had that experience. You have something I don't have now.
I had no choice. I don't have a driver.
Hey, yeah.
But now, so then yesterday we were talking about business and fashion and all these things. I want to get into we left off at the conversation of thinking about Kanye West.
Yeah.
How like the Yeezus album, how a lot of people didn't get it. But you and I got it.
I loved it. It was great. I have the digital version of it, but I love it. It's one of the best albums that came out. I think it came out this year or last year. Last year.
Yeah.
It was one of the best albums last year. I think with that album and I think Drake's album was pretty good too. That wasn't too bad. That album I enjoyed.
I think Drake had the best album last year, in my opinion.
I
think he did.
I will say he had the best album, but it's just that Tuscan Leather song was phenomenal. I can't get over that. It's so good. He really put his heart out in that song right there. That was the piece of art. That was art to me.
Well, this is the thing about Drake. I enjoyed the Drake album a lot because he pretty much told YMCMB to go suck a big fat one because there was not one person off that label, and I cannot stand anybody from that goddamn label, especially Nicki Minaj. But I can't stand. He pretty much told everybody to go suck a big fat one. Get that man a round of applause for that. And I was like, yes.
It was to me. I think it was one of the classics of that year. Like I was surprised when I heard that. I'm like, wow, this is a really good album. It's different from Take Care, but at the same time, it has its own piece of art, and it was great.
Do you see, because you do, like I said, you are a fashion investor, but you are an artist, and you incorporate art into your work, and you incorporate art into your business. Do you see the tides changing in that? Like, do you think this is, because, I mean, you saw it with Jay-Z and Magna Carta, you saw it with Yeezy and the Yeezus album, maybe, and what he did, Dark Twisted Fantasies, and Drake, and, oh, God, there's another artist I'm blanking on right now. Shit. It probably comes to me more off air. But I'm starting to see a lot of artists incorporate art now into their work.
I think it's a genius idea because in the world that we live in, especially when it comes to rap music, black people are automatically put into that side as, you know, we rap about gangster stuff and this and that and the third. So when we incorporate art, which is something that, you know, white people, Caucasian people enjoyed more, and we start incorporating that into our work, then it creates a whole new fan base, and we're not just looked upon as the people that rap about drugs and sex and violence, stuff like that. Now we're looked upon as actual musicians and somebody that can be put into a greatest of all times book, a Hall of Fame book, because no one really gets to the Hall of Fame by rapping about that kind of stuff. You have to really set yourself apart.
Well, yeah, because you'll get the people who's like, oh, Jay-Z's fucking stupid. He's not rapping about fucking drugs and stuff. Why is he rapping about art? Fucking get it. Yeah, you don't fucking get it, you ignorant fuck. Like, fucking read a book. Like, seriously, like, it's the same thing. Like, even when you look at like young artists, like that's what I was thinking of. I'm a huge fan of them. ASAP Rocky and ASAP Mob.
Okay, yeah.
Even as street they can be, they still incorporate some sort of art and fashion into their shit.
And that's what makes them a little bit different than most of other people.
And I think that's why they also kind of got shunned a little bit as far as in the New York rap scene. You know what I mean? It's because of that. I mean, you look at something that I at first I was like, I didn't get it, but then I really started to think about it, and I thought it was genius. I mean, you look at now the RZA and the Wu-Tang Clan, and anybody that knows me, I'm like, the Wu-Tang Clan is like, to me, is how white people see the Grateful Dead. Like, that's how
Good point.
They are the end-all, be-all for me. But what the RZA's doing, I don't know if you know what he's doing with Wu-Tang with their album. He has an album of like unreleased tracks or tracks they've been working on for years that were hidden, and they're doing an album called Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. Now, this particular album is only one album is being made, only one in the world, and he got this guy that from the Middle East who does like all this type of fine art stuff out of like gold and nickel and all this stuff. He got this guy for free at that because the guy was a Wu-Tang fan. to do a box that's encrusted in nickel or in bronze or something like that, and the case with the CDs in is encrusted in that, and the record is in there. And only one is being made, and it's going to be bid for even high as to $5 million.
Wow. I think I've heard about it briefly, but I think that's a genius idea.
And there's only one being made. That's the only way you can get it.
It's a I think it's a genius idea, and it also creates more of a like how Beyonce did with her album, and she released it out of nowhere. You know, I think it creates that kind of feel to it.
Well, I think you're gonna. I mean, and that's the thing about innovation, and when like I pretty much just had a big mind fuck when you told me the concept of your company. I was just like that's how you got to do it. Like I'll sit there and be like, man, why can't I? Because you nowadays you really have to be different because everybody's doing the same thing. I mean, especially that we live in the age of the internet where you have this opportunity to do what you want, but then what happens, what I start to notice that everybody starts doing the same thing, and it gets redundant. So you have something like what Jay-Z did with Magna Carta, which was like crazy original. It was like, nope, we're going to release as an app for free. If you have an Android, if you have a Galaxy Android phone, you got it. What Beyonce did, just dropping the album digitally out of nowhere. What the Riz is doing with the Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. I mean, yeah, it does make sense, especially the way the music industry is, that these artists would have to do records like that, but still to do something like that is just mind-boggling to me.
I think it makes the music, because once you, like for example, the two albums that caught my eye the most last year was Jay-Z's album and Drake's album. But reason being is because the covers of the album. Both covers of the album was art. And Drake actually had an artist paint the cover to his album. So neither two albums are exactly the same as any other album that was put out in that time period, because usually you have the artist either propped up against some kind of street corner or just something more gangster. But when they added art in their cover, I think that was the most genius idea of 2013 and on, and everybody's going to start doing that.
Yep, everybody can now latch on to that because it's the cool thing. But somebody else will come along and hopefully do something original with it. And I mean, do you see that in fashion now? Do you see that's going to start leaking over in fashion?
As far as art being more of a
finding ways to be more innovative.
I think in fashion, it's going to be difficult, but I believe it's possible, and it should be trending. But at the same time, it's like you still have those people that, or even the greater, let's say, for example, the higher up designers. They are role models to the present designers, the ones that are up and coming. Unless the higher people make an innovation, it's harder for the younger people to really do that because we follow other people. Unfortunately, we live in a world full of followers. So if you're not doing anything innovative, nobody else will either. So once that top person starts doing something innovative, then people start, you know what? Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I should start doing something innovative. But there always has to be that one person to do it first.
But do you believe in the gatekeepers, as like Kanye West has said many times in this rant?
I do and I don't. I do because I believe that it can work. As far as because one thing I want to point out also is even with his album, he has no cover.
Right.
He has no cover, and that was so crazy that I can't even formulate a description for that. That is like, wow, like what were you thinking when you decided not to put a cover on your album?
And he had very little promotion with the album too.
Yes, and that right there was like, okay, because to me personally, I think you also have to be innovative. You also have to cross-gender your material. Like if you're a musician, you have to cross into the art, or you have to cross into the fashion. If you're into fashion, you have to cross into the music, and you have to intercross everything. So I think that there can be a way to do something like that in the future. You know how almost exactly how Liquid was done. Liquid was intercrossed with digital format. So as we were talking about yesterday with Netflix, Netflix and Liquid, same concept, just two different categories.
Right.
So it's technically intercepted each other into a whole nother generation now. You done mixed and mashed two things, digital and fashion, together to make Liquid. So everything is going to be intercrossing in the future, I think.
Yeah, I think it always just takes that one person. You have to kind of. I mean, and unfortunately, the first person is always the one that gets shot at first. But it always takes that one person. It's so true. It just takes one person to do it, but unfortunately, they're the ones that get shot at first, and then everybody jumps on the bandwagon and go, "Oh, okay, yeah, it was great."
Yeah, case in point, Obama being the first African American president. There has to be one first, and then if there's one after him, it's going to be a lot easier for that next African American president. But he's going to get all the bashing right now for the next person.
Well, yeah, they had to, if you think about it, that's why President Obama is not even all the way black, so they had to kind of start him off like, we got to start with a light skinned brother first, because we start with dark skinned brother. That's just strong. He might scare people. We got to start light skinned, and then we graduate. We're gonna go mocha, and then we're gonna go to chocolate.
A good point there. I didn't think about it like that. That's a good point. Yeah.
They started out like we can't too strong. We're gonna scare people. Then we gotta get a Latin president in there too, because this is my opinion. I love my Latin brothers and sisters, but man, I sensed a little hateration from them when we got a brother in the office, especially the second time around. I was like, oh, I'm hating. Man, y'all won't associate yourselves with us anymore.
well, I think in a 50-year period, I think we might see a female president, and we also might see a Latin president. Maybe. There's a good chance. If Obama got into office, then anybody can get into office.
I just think we need to knock them out. We need to get a first lady, Latina, and she needs to be gay. Just knock them all out at once. Latino, and she's gay. Knock all three out, bam, at once.
That would change the world forever. That will be very hard to do, because there'll be so many people trying to knock that person off. There's going to be so many activists against it. It's going to be a very, very good day to watch in society, but it's going to be very interesting when that day comes.
Oh, everybody's an activist now. Everybody. You ever notice on social media, everybody's an activist now? Everybody got some sort of can't talk about it. Some sort of like social activist type things. It's like, don't eat red meat. Don't do this. Don't do this. I'm a feminist. I'm this. I'm this. Oh, shut up.
I think everybody has an issue with something, and everybody is just so uptight. Like, nobody's really loose anymore.
Thank you. Give this man a round of applause, please. Please, people take a stick out your ass. People take a stick out their ass. Everybody got an issue. It's like, calm the fuck down.
Exactly.
Take that stick out your stuck-up ass and go do something instead of complaining on the internet.
I think you should make something of yourself. Do something with your life. Don't even just, So I try not to watch. I don't watch the news too much. So what I usually do when I'm creating something new, I don't watch the news. I don't do any of that outside BS. I just take into what's around me, like the people that's around me, and make a story out of that. I don't make a story about what's on TV or about what's going on in South America or what's going on here. I make a story about what's going on in your backyard. Who knows? 4 years down the line, I might make a story about this moment right here. It's just all about creating something and not being so uptight. I may, even now I'm working with a lady to work on an organization that supports women business owners and women of power, and that includes gay women who owns businesses as well, because I know a few, and it's hard for them to run a business because people look at them, okay, well, you're gay, there must be something wrong with you, or they don't want to buy anything from you. So, and I was raised by a single mother, and she had a hard time running her own little self-made business. So what better can I do than to give back to those that are the best things in the world? Women are the best thing in the world. So you really can't compare against that. You really can't compare. Everything I do, if you look at, once we're done, I'm gonna make sure I email you over the logo. You can see, like, it's a picture of a woman, but it's many women into one. So
this man around play nothing like nothing like a woman. Nothing like a woman. I love women. That's genius. Fuck me. Fuck me. A wise person once told me, though, as a business, is always good to market it towards women, because women will bring them in.
Of course, and even as we step into the release of liquid we're marketing towards women, because at the end of the day, it's supposed to benefit us guys, but it benefits the women more, because when you're buying unlimited at one price, who is it benefiting? You think about it. Okay, it's benefiting the single mother who has 2, 3, or 4 or more kids, who only can afford to buy one kid per, a sneaker at a time, because she has to wait for her next paycheck, or so on and so forth. Because when you're buying clothes for your kids each school year or when they need it, it can get costly. So
Right.
that's what we did. It's like, you know what? This is made to benefit and made to really gear towards women. Liquid is a women-based project. I could honestly say it's a women-based project. It's men will enjoy it, but it's women.
Is it going to be where you have, or are you going to get into where, okay, you have a membership and shipping fees that's affordable for the working class and also high-end stuff too?
What we're doing now is that we're planning on separating the two.
Okay.
So you can go on Liquid and still buy each individual item as if it was a normal store, but you also have the option of getting a membership. We're not forcing you to get it just to buy from Liquid. We're actually saying, if you want a membership, here you go. It's you're more than welcome to have one, and you can start your unlimited there. But you can also just go to the Liquid unlimited site and buy piece by piece. Oh, I want this $10 outfit, or I want this $50 watch, or whatever. You can buy individual pieces. So we're not forcing you to graduate. We're not forcing you to buy everything at one time. No, because not many people can afford the actual membership cost, which is still inexpensive. But right now we have it priced at $299. So
okay, that was my next question. What was the pricing range for the membership?
So the pricing range is to us, it's fairly affordable. $299 that's per month. And how much a month would you usually spend on clothes for your kids?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of evens itself out, because it's not just for your kids. How much do you really spend on yourself too? So it really evens itself out, and you compare $299 to like a cost of a PlayStation 4, which is like $400 or $500. So you're a lot of electronics nowadays are a lot higher than $299. So this is a bargain deal. This is not nothing that you can just say, oh, well, that's expensive. No, because the iPhone 4, which has been out for a couple of years, is still around $150, $200 if you go to AT&T or Verizon to buy it. So it's just a fairly good price range and a good deal for everybody of any budget.
Now, do you have your own team of designers, or are you in talks with other designers or other companies that you're in works with for Liquid?
We have a little bit of both. So just to make sure we add more product faster, we also have our own in-house designers. So we also have clothing even cheaper. So because we do it all in-house. Because at one point in time, years ago, we did run a clothing company in its own. All the clothing material we actually manufacture, produce, and screen print for a lot of outside clothing companies. So we decided to keep that and use it with Liquid as well. And we work with other designers too.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. I feel, listening to you talk has really inspired me, and I hope it inspires somebody out there, because I'm feeling like I'm contributing nothing to society at this point. I'm like, you've done it all. And I'm sitting there like, man, all I do is tell jokes.
Hey, well, you know what? I think about it like this. We all have to laugh sometimes. So telling jokes can mean a difference between life and death.
Oh, this is true. Until you get on stage, and that one night you bomb, somebody's like, "Yo, you suck! Get off stage!"
But then that creates a story, and that creates more of a passion to do better next time.
You know what? I welcome hecklers. I don't welcome hecklers. I don't like hecklers. But if I do get heckled, well, guess what, pal? It's your night. You want to be a star? I'm going in on you. I'm going to abandon my whole set, and I'm just going to go. I'm going to make sure you never heckle somebody again. I'm going to hurt your goddamn feelings.
Wow. Well, as you say that, I love when people negatively say, okay, well, I don't like this or I don't like that, because I'm looking for people to dislike Liquid. I'm looking for people to dislike what I'm doing, because if you dislike it, tell me why. So then maybe 2 years, 3 years down the line, when I'm doing the next big thing, I will know, okay, well, I take that in consideration, because as far as right now, I haven't really found anybody that disliked it.
Well, do you, okay, well, there's a fine line between constructive criticism and just pure hate. Like, just pure hate. Like, you want constructive criticism, but I feel like the people who don't, like, okay, for example, like, like far as for me, yeah, I'm interested in business, but you're more of a businessman than I am.
Mm.
So for me, like I can come and for me to come, this is how I look at it, and I could be wrong. For me to critique the way you do business, you probably would have the right to go, okay, what the fuck does he know? Like he has no knowledge of investing in anything like that. Like, but if I was an investor myself and was like, okay, well, you need to work on this, then I feel like that could take into consideration. That makes sense. It's kind of like somebody who's telling me what's funny that's not funny.
Mm. It's a good point. Good. I usually, even then, I even still try to take in consideration the people that are not even in my field.
Yeah.
I met somebody a year ago who criticized what I did, and then I thought about saying, "Lord, what do you do? Like, what is your field? What do you actually make money off of?" And then when I found that out, it was like, I can get cocky at times, and I, say, "Hey, you know what? Sit your ass down. You don't know what you're talking about. Unless you're making money, you got to be sitting right over there. Don't come over here next to me."
Or you get low Kanye West.
I get. I have the right sometimes to be a little cocky. I have that right. It's not.
You have a Kanye West Sway moment. You ain't got the answer, Sway. You ain't got the.
I definitely have my moments sometimes.
I've been doing this. You ain't got the answer.
I definitely. That's why when I accept competition. I want you to step up and do something better than I can, because at the end of the day, like I said before, no one really knows the rest of what.
That's the thing. You have to surround yourself with people who are better than you, and that's going to make you work 10 times harder. You're not going to learn anything by being around a bunch of people that you're doing better than. Like I always said, if I'm the smartest guy in the room, that's the room I don't want to be in.
Yeah, you're right.
Like I constantly want to keep chasing. You know what I mean? Like even if I know you're better than me, and that's going to make me work 10 times harder and inspire me.
That's true. I live by that as well. I always look at the person next to me like, all right, well, what am I doing wrong that you're doing better? And even the people that are better than me, I always sit down with them and have them teach me as well, because I don't know everything. Even as an investor, I still don't know everything. I messed up a couple of things sometimes. Even I mess up contracts that are worth $500,000 sometimes. I mess it up.
Ooh.
But at the same time, it's not like I mean, when I'm writing a contract, sometimes I do get, because I work 18, 20 hours a day. I just continue going. So I do mess up things sometimes, but it's not like it's so severe that at the point where I just look stupid at the end. But no, I always look at that person that saw me mess up, and they trained me. They say, well, you know what, next time you do this, work on that. Or I think you should do that to be a better person, to be a better investor, to be a better anything in what you do. So I take in consideration everybody, and whether if you're younger than me or older than me, because the youngest person can know more than I do.
Absolutely. And plus, younger people are more in tune with things. I think as we get older, we start to be out of touch with things. I do believe. Like for example, and I've done it. Anybody, I don't know your age, but I know I've done it where, when, for example, when hip hop was changing, and I was that guy that was still stuck in the 90s with hip hop, like, oh, you know what you're talking about, man. That's not real hip hop. Yo, get out of here. What is this? This nonsense that they spit. You know what I mean? But I'm getting older, so I had to take a step back and say, okay, maybe I'm getting a little out of touch. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the nerds and the geeks that got pissed off when the trailer of the Ninja Turtles came out, and they were like, "Oh, they look like the Ninja Turtles. They look stupid. Why do they look like?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, calm that ass down. First of all, like I'm like, nigga, you're like 30, 40 years old. You're getting married. You're getting mad over a movie about a bunch of overgrown talking turtles.
The same thing with Transformers. When Transformers came out, the first Transformers movie, not the newest one that's coming out now, but the first one, everybody was just like up in the air about how it was going to be. Or Godzilla too.
Yeah. Well, the one in '98 was ass. That was kind of crappy, but the new one was great.
It is. It was good. I liked it a lot.
The one in the '90s was ass. The new one is fucking amazing. but it's just, I think as we get older, we just get out of touch because we're in this era of being nostalgic. We all want to be nostalgic and remember the good old days and when things were great and all that stuff. And we're quick to pull the youngsters to the side and go, back in my day, Sonny, we didn't do that, versus listening to youngsters because they're more in tune. Because I think as society, we're scared to move on.
And you know what? And that brings me to another point too. Now that you say that, because just 2 days ago, I had a guy come up to me, and I was at another event, and a guy came up to me and he said that, do you feel that what you're doing, especially with fashion and with the release of liquid, are you taking away the profits from the mom and pop businesses and the smaller businesses? Mm-hmm. And my response to that was, and I said it kind of harshly, I do apologize for that. I said to him that maybe if they got a younger person to manage their place, they would know how to innovate themselves better. Because not all the time, people, because you always have the older people that are stuck in their ways. That's the issue.
Right.
I always deal with other, like when I'm hiring different public relation companies or different marketing companies, and there's an older gentleman or woman that is older than me. I'm in my 20s. And they try to tell me, I don't think it's going to work. I always ask them, and I ask myself the same question: who hired who? So it's in a sense, just because I'm younger than you doesn't mean I'm not wiser or I don't know as much as you know. I might know more than you know. Obviously, if I'm doing this or I'm doing something, I'm hiring you to pay you this much money. Obviously, I must know something. I'm better or more than what most people might know.
Or you might just even have this different outlook at things.
Yeah, or even a different outlook on things. It's just all. At the end of the day, it's all competition. It's the end of that conversation with the gentleman. I just said it's just competition. I'm not trying to take anybody's business or anything. So the next day, I actually proposed a new marketing plan to my team, and I said, why don't we just partner up with mom and pop businesses and have liquid not just online, but in the physical store too. So everybody's happy.
Well, yeah, because I think. I do believe I do believe that we can live in a hybrid world of capitalism and socialist, whatever it is. There could be a hybrid, in my opinion, because I'm a firm believer you need both.
Of course. I don't think anything has to be segregated anymore. It could be, everything could be together. There's no reason to separate everything anymore. Everything is just together and it mesh well. You never know. You could just put two drinks together and make something new. So you just try it. What's worse? You can't fail if you don't try.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know. It's like I said. I just think that sometimes people just get out of touch with things, and we're just so scared to move on with things and just okay, this is new. You know what I mean? Like I remember when Jay-Z and Kanye dropped the Watch the Throne album. At first, I did not like it. I was like, this is kind of whack. But then it took me a couple times to actually listen to it, and I was like, okay, I get it, and it grew on me.
That's another album that had art in it, and I loved it. First time I played it was good. It was a golden album. I love that album. I actually bought 2 copies of it. It was a good album.
Super fan.
Got one for the car and one for the house. I usually do that anyway. Just leave one in the car, leave one in the house. So I always have it somewhere. It was a good album. When that album came out, phenomenal.
Yeah. So I want to get into this segment. So now a friend of mine actually put an article today about the working poor and how, and essentially, in this country, there's a lot of people that's in the working poor and the opportunities are not there. What is your, as a businessman, what is your stance on that?
On the opportunities not being there for the poor?
Yeah.
That's a tricky stance because it's not nothing that they can do.
Right.
At the same time, it is something that they can do. So it's a double-edged sword because you really can't do anything because it's all about the economy. But you can do something because look at half the millionaires that are out right now. Some of them didn't have jobs or homeless, but they happened to make it. They happened to do it. So there is always a way. I never say something's impossible or, I can't find a job or I can't do this. Well, there's always a way. You just have to figure it out. It just may be tougher for other people, but there's always, no matter what, a way to get out of the situation you're in now.
Well, some of your Fortune 500 companies were started in the Great Depression.
Yeah, and the Great Depression, that's when a lot of companies went under. And I think even Disney was around during the Depression, and they lost millions of dollars at that time period. I think they were almost bankrupt at one point.
Mm.
And look where they're at now. They're grossing like over what $4 or $5 billion a year. So anything can happen. It just takes to believe. It takes ambition. It takes believing in yourself to do it.
Absolutely. And do you think also we're in this era? I think we actually touched upon this in part one. But we're in this era that it's this kind of sense of entitlement that everybody's entitled to something and no one wants to work for it anymore.
I think that's good. I actually know somebody who just said that yesterday. But but I think that people feel that they work so hard and they deserve this automatically.
Yeah, because we want the instant gratification, especially now with the. I've always said this, the internet will trick you. You know, you see people on social media or whatever just straight stunting like everything is cool, and it's not.
Hmm.
You know, and people get, why am I not there? And you start comparing yourself to other people, which is the worst thing you can possibly do because you're setting yourself up for failure right there when you do that. Not everybody's journey is the same. That's something I had to learn myself. But I feel like we're like it's all that we want that instant gratification without putting in the work.
I think because people they expect everything to be done so fast because they expect all right when you turn on your TV it pops on. Everything is just so instant nowadays that we expect that well success will come the same way, and it doesn't work like that.
You know, it takes years, years, and years, and years of blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, even me as a comic, I mean, I'm like, you know, if it were to go down tomorrow, where I got a big break, I would be happy. I would be doing backflips, but then I'd be like, I don't know how I would take it because I haven't been doing it for 10 years, or you know what I mean? What how would I take it? Because I feel like sometimes, I think it depends on the person. I think some people can take success that comes to them quickly. They can take it and run with it, and they can take it, run with it, and do great things with it. And then there's some people that can get it quickly and they take it and it just fumbles. They just fumble. They drop the ball, you know. But there's also people who've been doing it for years and they get it and they drop the ball. So I think you have to be a certain type of person. You have to be a strong-minded person to take success when it comes.
Well, when it comes to success, I believe that if it comes too fast, it's going to end too fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I also believe that if it comes out of nowhere, if it comes in like with me, I still sometimes think back and just sit back and relax for one moment and be like, wow, like I really made it that far in this period of time. It's you just got to soak it in because if you continue to keep going, and that success just hits you, now you're at a point where you're almost like in writer's block, but you're in the real life version of it now. Your whole body's in shock. It's like, wow,
Right.
like I really just did that. You just take some time and step back and really observe what's around you. Like, wow, like I've met so many great people. I've done this, I've done that, and this and the third. It's just like, wow, just take it in.
Oh my God, I think that's that's like the best. That's the best thing I've heard. That's the best advice. I think we do. That's the problem. We don't soak it in. We don't take the time to just live in that moment and just take a step back and think and go, wow. Because we're so used to like focusing on negative shit. Like, oh, I don't have this. I don't have this. I don't have that. It's like, no. Take a step back and think about how far you've come. Think about what you have now. And then you'll get a different insight. Like, you know what? I'm still doing better than what I did 5 years ago, or what I was doing 5 or 10 years ago. So I'm making progress. It's a slow progress, but I'm making progress.
Of course, and you always have to be grateful for that moment right there too, because you may not have it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen the next day. So everything I do, I always treat it like it's the last thing of my life. It's gonna be the last thing. I treat it as if I had a daughter or a child and they need to eat tomorrow. I treat it just like that. Like, okay, well, what am I gonna do? I have to make sure this goes. I have to make sure this works. I don't care what's going on in my life. I want to make sure I get this done because I hate falling short and I don't want to give up.
Well, yeah, because it'll show in your work too. I
Yeah.
mean, and I think it's also about the process too. I think I know for me, speaking as a comic, I know I can say it's not about the laughs all the time. It's about the process. It's about if I go and do a show, or even if I'm doing an open mic or something like that, and I'm working on a bit, it's that process. It's like, okay, I didn't get any laughs. Why didn't I get any laughs? Why did this didn't work? Oh, well, this worked. That didn't work. Let me take this out. Let me edit this out. How can I edit this down? Or, I thought I found the laugh in this particular punchline or joke, didn't find it. Let me add on to it. Sometimes I'll add on stage and say, oh, that worked. Let me add it into my notes, and I'll go and jot it down real quick. So I think it's that process too, whatever you do, like kind of just that process of honing your craft is what I'm starting to enjoy. And ironically, getting into comedy and stand-up actually started teaching me patience, which is weird.
Teaching patience like at a hospital?
No, like patience.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Not patient, patience.
Oh, well, that's
sure, it's the accent, but yes, it taught me patience.
Okay. It's you always have to learn from your mistakes to make yourself better. You can't do nothing better if you never make any mistakes.
Oh, and I've made tons of mistakes in my day.
I tell you that too. I made a lot of mistakes. Yeah, some business and even more personal mistakes. Like, wow. I step back and be surprising because sometimes the mistakes still show up at my door sometimes. So it's like crazy.
You ain't got no illegitimate kids, do you?
No. I'm actually metaphorically saying like it just pops up in the life, not really literally at my door. No.
I'm about to say you gotta be careful, brother. You doing Daddy.
No, hopefully not. Crossing. I don't think so far. So I don't know if anybody watching, they'll know.
I don't know. I don't think I got any illegitimate children out there, but there was a couple of kids, man, that kind of resembled me a little bit. I was a little scared. I saw a little girl, like a girl version of me. I was like, "Who's your mother? Who's your mother? Is your mother Tiana? Oh no!"
Hey, I know. Hey, that never works. Remember that never works.
Well, you know what? We'll move on.
You never know. That might show up at your door. So
we'll move on. I've dodged a lot of bullets on that end, but we're coming to the end of our show. So I want to give you the opportunity to plug your brand and let people know where they can find Liquid Unlimited and they can find you and any other projects that you're working on.
Sure, no problem. Liquid is being released July 4th, 2014, and we're opening up the pre-orders June 20th. You can do all of this at liquidunlimited.com, LQUID unlimited.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at Liquid Unlimited, and we're on Instagram, Instagram/Tuscan, TUSCN. I mean, right now we're just working on everything and making sure we get the best products out to you and the most expensive stuff you like.
Awesome. Please definitely go check that out. His brother's gonna be on that Forbes list. He's gonna be on
Hopefully.
I interviewed him. Now give me a job. No, I'm just kidding.
I give you a job. Don't worry, I give you a job.
This comedy shit don't work out. You gotta give me a job, because if not, I'm running the niggas' houses. This comedy shit don't work out.
Hey, you know what? I always wanted to own a comedy production company, so there you go.
Hey man, listen, I'll tap dance for you now. I'm just kidding. Well, thank you, Joseph. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and also I appreciate you understanding the technical difficulties that we had and everything. And folks, I will be in the city doing stand-up. I will be at the Laughing Buddha Comedy mic next Friday at 8 p.m. So if you're in the city, go check that out. You can also follow me on Twitter at Gregory Hall 5000. And also give me a Facebook like, Facebook/Gregory Hall 5000. And you can also follow me on Instagram, Gregory Hall 5000. Don't ask where the 5000 came from. It's just some shit I came up with. Now, as far as the other shows that we had, notice, like I said, I have not been on air as much because I've been busy, crazy busy. I do plan to do another show with my fabulous co-host Tristan Riss for the world's most dangerous web show. Sometime this month or next month, I'm not too sure. Me and Tristan have to discuss that, so be on the lookout for that. And as far as the Greg and Jen show, that's up in the air at this point. With me and Jen Nagel have to talk and figure out both our time. You know, it's been really busy. but we'll definitely get you a show with that coming soon. And for now, we're going to sign off. Thank you so much for tuning in, and see you next time. Peace.